Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for having me today. I've been a big fan of this community for a while now. Where's Joe Russo? Is he still here?
I'm doing social over here.
You're being social over there. Okay. So Joe had invited me several months ago through social media, obviously, to one of these events, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's amazing. I looked up what Creative Mornings was, and I checked into it. I'm like, these are my people. This is so cool. 8:30 in the morning, are you kidding me? I thought, this is really cute, guys, but do you know creative people? Like, I don't know any creative person that's up at 8 or anywhere at 8:30 in the morning. Like, if at midnight the night before, we're either like writing a song or writing a novel, painting a picture, laying in bed, worrying about every word you ever said to anyone over the last 2 weeks. Nobody is up functioning 8:30 in the morning. So I said, okay, I'll live stream it from bed the next morning and I'll watch it that way. And the room was packed. So from that moment on, I was like, okay, I need to get out of bed. I think that first one I went to, I was one of the first people here, right? I'm just so proud of myself. Slowly gotten delayed in my time since then. But I do appreciate you all taking the time to be here today. Just to give a little bit of introduction, and thank you so much for Yulia, Nicole, and the entire team for having me. I really appreciate any opportunity to share my story. I am a music therapist, a board certified music therapist. I work mostly in medical settings, working neurodegenerative disorders, working primarily with Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. My background is 7 years working in hospice, both at home and facilities and in inpatient units, but now work in private practice as a managing partner for the Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute. About 2 years ago, I got an opportunity to start working with a radio station, which has now moved from AM to FM, iHeartRadio, and also Facebook Live. And basically, I love the opportunity so much to share out the community what I do, what my passions are. I want to create a space to invite others from the community who are doing amazing things that people might not know about, to have a place and a platform to share the work that they're doing, which I kind of come to Creative Mornings to fish for those people. I'm looking around the room. I've had a lot of you on this show, so thank you so much for supporting that as well. Oh yeah, that's good, this works. I was really the most nervous about this clicker. When I'm thinking about the word that I have the opportunity to speak to this week, this theme this week, pioneer, it was a pretty easy idea for me to grasp, theme for me to grasp, because I really feel like it's one of those things that I was put on this earth to do, is to share how much inspiration I get from those that came before me. I've felt that from a very young age, and I'm going to kind of start with that, with my journey through that. And my goal today is, just to share, impart upon that with this group of how much we can learn when we connect and embrace other generations, our previous generations. So, in a nutshell, I think this quote really sums it up well. I love this quote. A society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they know they shall never sit in. And I love this for a couple reasons. To me, this is just like the epitome of sacrifice and dignity. And when we're thinking about that as far as previous generations, this to me describes the greatest generation. Being a millennial, this is my grandparents' generation for me. That might look differently for you. But for me, and I'm thinking specifically, I had the opportunity to work with a lot of World War II veterans. And my grandparents were both World War II veterans. And this just embodies that to me. That theme of not only being a part of the service, but if they were fortunate to come back, now what do I do? You know, there weren't a whole lot of opportunities here. There weren't a whole lot of jobs open. For men, it was hard enough. And then you talk about the women of that time who suddenly had to find work when their husbands were away, and work in factories and work in all these scenarios that had never been done before, not really knowing how that would affect future generations. I picked this for a second reason too, because I know that I'm talking to a lot of individuals who are in the technology and digital world. And sometimes I think it's very easy to think we are the generation that's planting a lot of seeds, that's nurturing a lot of trees, and that's sitting in this shade. And it's true. Technology and changes in technology have created the biggest generation gap we've ever seen in our society. So it's very true. Us in this room are pioneering that. A lot of you in this room are pioneering that as well. It's important to look back on what has created the opportunities that we now have to keep creating, to have technology, to keep advancing. So just want to keep that one in mind. I love that quote. I have a kind of a little bit of a unique, at least when I was young in the town that I grew up in, unique situation. I moved to U.S. from Canada with my mom when I was 3 years old, back to the small little farm town that she grew up in. And only child, just me and my mom for many years of that. When we moved back to New York, my mom had to get a job. We would just switch countries, and so she became certified as a nursing assistant in a local nursing home, and worked her tail off to make sure that I could go to private Christian school and have the best of everything while being a single working mom, and volunteering and being involved in the church and in sports and all these things. So what she did, and I don't think she had to ask too hard, was to bring in the support of my grandmother. So really this was kind of what my parents were, my mom, my grandmother, and it was the three of us for most of my life. Actually ended up later in life too, later as I was growing up in my middle school and teen years. I love this picture. I love that my family chose to print this picture. Like, of all the ones, you know when you go get your family pictures taken and you're like, you know what, that hair's out of place, we're not going to choose that one. And they're like, well, this, I imagine sometime in life, Bree will be standing in a room and people will understand why we chose that one, because that's basically my personality. It's totally off here. I was probably singing Twinkle Twinkle off in the distance over here. They look annoyed. It's fine. This is actually the most perfect family photo I have. What was really cool about this opportunity was, one, with my mom, the situation with my mom working as a CNA, not a whole lot of childcare situations, so my childcare situation became going to work with my mom and entertaining the residents at the nursing home from like the age of 5, 5, 6, 7. And so, I didn't have a whole lot of experience, cultural experience. I don't know if anyone knows upstate New York, but it's a very rural, very farm town. Everybody kind of looks the same. So I would draw from like a lot of different songs and music and movies to entertain people. One of the best examples of this, I think really prepared me for South Florida, is that I knew every word of If I Were a Rich Man from Fiddler on the Roof, because I once saw that movie and would just perform that daily at the nursing home. And this is basically how I came out of my shell and how I grew up and how I got socialized as a kid, was performing in the lobby for seniors. And on the other side of that, so I saw seniors in that world, and as my mom kind of advanced through that, she started working for home care agencies. I started working for her at the age of 14, being a companion in home. I had my grandma, and I don't mean to diss anybody's grandma here at all. I'm actually the biggest fan of all grandmas everywhere, but a lot of grandma's purses and pockets, you might find a nice little tissue or a mint or a candy, a nice little kiss with that lipstick, right? My grandma had in her purse like a wrench, stock tips, and a belt to fix the nearest vacuum cleaner. I mean, that's how I grew up with my gram. So when my grandfather came back from World War II, he and his brother were looking for work, started going door to door fixing vacuum cleaners, hence the belt in her purse. And in 1945 opened an appliance and furniture store, and which is still open today. She has been there 5 days a week since it opened in 1945. My grandfather and great uncle have since passed many, many years ago, but Ethel Herman, the matriarch of Lyons, New York, is still at that store 5 days a week. So I knew how to sell, I knew how to repair appliances, as did my mom. My mom can fix just about every washer and dryer I've ever seen in my life, and that's kind of how I was raised, how I was brought up with that unique perspective. What I really want to talk about today is not only how that shaped me and how it shaped me further in life and how much I value those connections, but also how we can use that to help us, being younger individuals, view our elders in our community. A big part of that is recognizing that people who age with purpose and passion are aging successfully. So this is a picture I took on the year of the 70th anniversary of the store being open. And I surprised my gram, and I showed up, I flew in and I showed up, and then I said, hey, can I take you to lunch? I don't know, I gotta see if I can take a lunch break. Yeah, she was 93 in this picture, because she was selling on the floor. She's like, hold on, I need to go talk to the office first, and then maybe I can get ice cream with you. All right, I'll wait, no big deal. I've asked my grandma several times. I've been down here 9 years. I'm like, Gram, come on. This is the reverse. You're supposed to move here first, and then I come down. I'm down here. I'm connected with every senior resource, Tri-County area. Come down. She's like, I don't have a job down there. Why would I move to Florida? It's true. It's true. People who are aging with purpose and with passion are doing it. Now, has she also been blessed with some incredible genetics and takes like no medication? Yeah, that's pretty incredible for someone at 95. I absolutely recognize that with my healthcare background. But I also recognize that because she has a place to be and a job to do every single day, that's why she gets out of bed. Here's the cool thing about this. We don't have to wait to get our AARP card in the mail to start worrying about, oh, should I start living with passion and purpose now? Is this a good time to make this investment in my healthy aging? We're all aging. We are all, as we go through these moments of life, no matter what age we are, from the moment we're born, we're aging. I really loved, if you were here 2 months ago, when Jeff Pearlman, spoke at the Arts Garage, and I love that he shared, I don't remember the exact age he said, but he's like, I have the honor to be turning X this year. That's how he started, sharing his age. And I'm like, that is awesome. What if we thought about aging like that? I have the honor to have a birthday this year and to see a new year of life. And then he went from introducing his parents, who, I believe were somewhere in their 80s. And I have the honor to have my parents here. And he shared their ages openly. We live in a very anti-aging society, right? From our products to our health and wellness programs, everything treats aging like it is the antithesis of where you want to be. I've worked in hospice care a long time. The alternative is not that rosy, right? And working in hospice care, I can tell you that I've sat with thousands and thousands of people in the last days and last months, last weeks of their lives, and no one ever said, I really regret that I really regret that relationship that I cultivated. I really regret that vacation that I took. No. Anytime someone had a regret at the end of their life that they wanted to share, they wanted to be at peace with before they were able to release, was a job that they hated, a relationship that was toxic, and things that they held on to. They were not living their life, no matter what stage it was in, with passion and with purpose. So this is just something for me that I think I have to remind myself too. Even though this is my life and that I'm seeing in my life that I love is celebrating all of these seniors, I have to remind myself as a person, when I was turning 30, I told everyone the year before that I was turning 30, when I wasn't even 30, because I just wanted to come step into that. I was like, I am not going to be that person that's afraid to enter a new decade. And I made plans that decade, but I had to make that a purposeful choice. And yeah, that's 30. So I got hopefully a few more decades to purposefully move through here. So just something to keep in mind. Plus, I just love that picture. How sweet is she, right? She's awesome. Okay, this has inspired me to obviously follow a career in this path. One thing that I think a lot of people who work or volunteer in this world kind of say a lot from a really good place and from their heart is, it's my job to help someone, feel valuable or help them feel worthwhile. That's not our job. It's not our job to give someone worth or to give them value. They have worth and value all on their own. In fact, they probably had it 60 years before you were even born. What our job can be, or what our commitment can be when we're connecting with these pioneers, with these previous generations, is to cultivate that worth, is to create opportunities to celebrate them, to facilitate meaningful interaction. So this is just an example of one of the groups that we do. We work through music therapy practice. I work a lot in memory care, assisted living, independent living, skilled nursing, and adult daycare programs. And I don't know every song, that somebody, listened to. I was not alive in the 1920s. But I do know that there are a certain amount of memories that have occurred between, especially this generation's life, between your mid-20s and your early 30s. Those are really pivotal years, and as no surprise, those are also the years that are our strongest musical memories. So one reason why music is so effective, and I won't get into the whole science behind it because I will be here all day, is that it is the only stimulus that's processed in every single area of the brain. So I work a lot with individuals that have memory and movement disorders. So the parts of the brain that are affected by these degenerative diseases are able to be stimulated when the other areas of the brain are reached by music. It gets the neurons firing, gets those connections being made. So music is one way that maybe verbalization is not appropriate anymore. It actually might be frustrating for someone to verbalize, to recall, to express themselves appropriately. Music's able to close that gap. This is something that works cross-generationally, it works cross-culturally. I've led several groups of individuals that were entirely Spanish-speaking. I speak un poquito español. I would never be able to talk to a room of individuals for an hour in Spanish, but I can connect with them through music. So that has kind of inspired in that way. And again, given individual purpose, whether it's through songwriting, through singing, through song choice, control and choice making, playing an instrument, while being part of a group and creating something positive. Volunteering across the generations. This is just a picture of a walk to end Alzheimer's. If I'm connected with you on Facebook, I've inundated you with things about the walk to end Alzheimer's, coming up next week. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. I got my purple on. Yep, I've got Jen from the Alzheimer's Association going to come up and pitch you all in a moment as well. That's just one passion project, of mine. There are so many opportunities in our community. If this is not your work is not calling you, to reach across generations and connect, then volunteerism might be. There are so many opportunities in our area. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say probably more in our area than many, many places in our country to connect with and engage with seniors. And we're going to get a little bit more into that in a moment. Connecting across generations. Maybe work is not going to take you down this path. Maybe volunteering at this stage in your life is not appropriate. There, in our own inner circles, in our own communities, whether it's our faith community, our family, our friends, our networking, we are going to have opportunities to connect with individuals across the generations. Whether it's the baby boomers generation, whether it is the greatest generation, whatever that means to you, we have a lot to offer. And again, I don't mean to say we, like everybody in here is the exact same stage. I'll speak on behalf of millennials. We have a lot to offer older generations, greatest generation I'm going to talk about right now, through technology support. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but if you have an opportunity to look up the documentary Cyber Seniors, has anyone seen that? Cyber Seniors? It's really cool. Yeah, because I made you watch it. Yeah. I think it was Netflix that we saw it on. It started out as a high schooler in Ontario, Canada's senior project. She wanted to teach her grandma how to use FaceTime, basically, and so she could keep in touch with her when she went to college. And it turned into this documentary, and it turned into this larger project where all these just any kind of high school age student would go and partner with the local adult daycare facilities and assisted living facilities and teach them how to use this technology, FaceTime, Facebook, basically to be able to keep in touch with their families that were spread out. Well, it turned into this amazing YouTube competition that got really fierce. And it was like cooking channels and music videos and all this stuff. It is so cool. And the whole point of it was while these kids were going out to volunteer and get their community service hours checked off to connect with these seniors, they made friendships. They made lifelong friendships. They would, after the project stopped, they kept visiting, they kept writing, and they were learning too. It was really, really awesome to see these kids go through this process and realize, well, yep, I showed up and I volunteered and I gave today. But as the old adage goes, but I got a lot more back. And this is just a really cool, this is actually one of our oncology support group programs. That was like 1,000 hairstyles ago, but yeah, that is me. And it ended up being kind of a small group, and it was really cool because this woman was actually a patient in the program, and I'm sharing this with patient permission, and was visiting from out of state. And of the limited time she has together, she chose to bring him to her music therapy group so they could connect through music. And I think that's us playing Taylor Swift's Shake It Off. He was talking about shaking off bullies on the playground, and she was talking about shaking off cancer, and we just drummed it out. It was really awesome. Okay, so going back really quickly to the volunteer opportunities, I know I've just got a couple minutes left. I just want to pull up a couple ladies that I work in the community, Jen and Caitlin, really quickly, just to introduce to you guys, and just to toss out there, these are a few opportunities in our community. If this is something that has inspired you, or you're thinking about someone that might be inspired by this, there are so many ways that we can get involved with connecting with lonely seniors, with seniors who maybe have lost that sense of purpose, and again, facilitating that opportunity, and those that really maybe just benefit from advocacy and support. So I'll let you guys take.
I'm Caitlin. I'm an activities coordinator at Harbor's Edge Health Center in Delray Beach. It is a skilled nursing facility, so I have long-term residents that have dementia, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's, and then I also have people who are coming in and out for rehab, so they had a knee, a hip, any kind of replacement, so they're going through like PT and OT. So my job is to make sure their leisure time is engaged, and I have Bree, Palm Beach State Music Therapy
4 times a week, yeah.
And that is really the best way I can engage every single level of cognition. So I'm always looking for volunteers, even if it's just to come in to do computer work, FaceTime with a grandma, come in and play bingo, just make a connection. I have my cards if any of you guys are interested. We would love to have more volunteers.
I'm the public policy manager with the Alzheimer's Association, and I also have the honor of overseeing our young professionals group. We just started it about a year ago, and it's really all about bringing a younger generation to learn more about the Alzheimer's cause. Probably many of you know Alzheimer's and you think of it as an old person's disease. I hear it all the time, and that's just not the case. Many people that are the younger generation are caregivers for their grandparents or their parents with the disease. They've lost someone. So it's all about bringing them together. We do networking and social events, but then we also are strong advocates for the cause, going to Tallahassee, Washington, D.C., and we also raise funds, and our walk, as Bree mentioned, is coming up. It's going to be next Saturday, October 28th. We do it at City Place. We have a young professionals team. It's free to register. I have my cards. I'd love to see you guys there.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. When I got a chance to go home a couple weeks ago, I filmed my grandma for over an hour, which whether I used any of that for this today, I just have that the rest of my life, which is really special to me. Unfortunately, we don't have sound, so I'm just going to kind of play her in the background reacting. You're not going to hear her, but I'm going to tell you what she's saying. So basically what I found a lot about, it was a very historical, she talked a lot about growing up with 6 older brothers and growing up on a farm and all these things. And then I kind of got to a point after talking to her for a while about what would you want people my age to know about your generation. And she immediately said, patience. I just want people who are younger to have patience with my generation. And even hearing her answers to this caused me to show some patience. So she was really thoughtful about it. And while I'm kind of thinking in my head, how am I going to edit this so that it all fits into a minute so I can share this at Creative Mornings, I'm thinking, whoa, this is what she's talking about. Slow down, have patience, listen for what she's sharing. And what she also shared was she felt like people move so fast and they're not showing patience that she felt like maybe it was just moving past her. So I said, well, that broke my heart to hear, because I know she's also speaking about me, right? And that's like my best friend up there who's basically saying, hey, I need you to slow down for me sometimes. And so I said, you're someone who's out. You're someone who's out 5 days a week, and you are, you're engaging, you're talking, and we're talking, and you're sharing all these stories of people that you met today and you connected with today. Can you imagine how somebody who's isolated in a facility or in a hospital feels? And at the end there, you see her just kind of look down, and she's like, it's got to be awful. I can't imagine. It's got to be awful. And that just sent me back home, back to work. I've had that in my mind ever since, of just, okay, this is going to empower me, propel me forward to keep making eye contact, to keep shaking a hand, to keep, if someone's proudly wearing their veteran's hat, to thank them for their service, to keep extending a hug when it's appropriate. It doesn't have to be a whole big commitment. It can be something very small, because the things that connect us and the things that make us similar and that we're on this journey together are far greater than the things that separate us. It's far greater than the technology. We can teach each other technology. We can support each other through that. The things that make us similar are far greater than that. And on that note, because I am a musician, I have a song about that. And then we'll close. You may know this song. If you do, I'd love for you to sing it along with me. Talk about connecting generations. This is a baby boomer song. This is a Neil Young song. Like Neil Young? Anyone? Yeah, sure. It's no Sister Hazel like I ever thought I'd be sharing a stage with my like 90s singles tapes, right? That was pretty awesome. This is a Neil Young song, Old Man. I'm just going to do a little bit of it. If you don't know it, listen to the words. If you know it, sing along with me. Oh man, look at my life, 24 and there's so much more. Live alone in a paradise that makes me think of two. Love lost such a cost, give me things that don't get lost, like a coin that won't get take a look at my life, I'm a lot like you. I need someone to love me the whole day through. Oh, one look in my eyes and you can tell that's true. Lullabies, look in your eyes, run around the same old town. Doesn't mean that much to me, to mean that much to you.